Я батько.
Я молодший брат.
Я водій маршрутки.
Я скоро одружуся. Я фанат шахтера. Начальник отдела продаж.
Я прораб.
Я программист.
Я свидетель на свадьбе.
Дядя Юра. Таксист. Я вчитель фізкультури.
Я студент-геолог.
У мене своя фірма.
Я кращий друг зі школи.
Я сусід, який завжди стукає по батареї.
Я єдиний син.
Hello everyone, and we are starting right now. Welcome. Today is a little bit of a interesting stream with so many news happening all at once. Most shocking of the news, obviously, that Russian elections apparently are unfair. How did this happen? We're gonna dig in and find out those small issues that happened with those. But before we start, please join me at saying huge thanks to the moderating team. The moderating team is responsible for majority of this channel. This channel would not ever exist to the scale it is. I would just be a guy just talking on the webcam that no one knows about without having this great community, with chat filled with Russian trolls, with not having such a great Discord channel with Discord server, one of the best in the Ukrainian community, that has all of the news that you could ever want, that has channels with all of the videos describing all of the parts of the battlefield. If you like what I'm doing here, please also join the Discord so you experience that their effort and product of their work from your own perspective. Great to be here. Let's give it a hand. And huge thanks to the band Cardinal Birds that wrote the song Ukraine Matters. We finally were able to finalize the last issue so I can play it on my YouTube channel without YouTube banning it. So finally this song can appear both on my videos and in the live streams. Huge thanks to Cardinal Birds. Please check them out. They are amazing. Oh, I am losing my voices. I'm barely starting today. All right. How are you feeling, guys? Tell me how you do, and we're gonna dive in. It's been a interesting week. A lot of things happened. Right as I released my last video talking about, hey, you know, like we should talk about potentially having to send troops to Ukraine and whatever, and then Macron, the same day as I recorded a video and released it, he just like, yep, Georgie, I heard you loud and clear. So yeah, obviously I'm taking credit for that. Like I definitely, it was either me or the mods that completely messaged Macron and just said like, you need to go. You just need to go for it. Yeah, obviously right now there is still a lot of question. What he said, does it mean that there's going to be French troops that are going to be coming to Ukraine or not? And I don't think we're going to have a definite answer, because I really think that the main idea of Macron's perspective was specifically to have this ambiguity about what kind of actions would the European Union take. How far would we go? Where our red lines, so to say, are? Because that was his major frustration that he expressed with, that we are just telling Putin that he can do anything, and we have all of these lines, and we never kind of go on the offensive against Russia, which is wrong. So I think the fact that we don't specifically know what France is going to do and what's the specific actions they're going to be taking is part of the design. But all in all, there is a link says your questions here. Please write questions there, and we're gonna go from there. And the first question is from Dr. Canada, and he asks, has France moved forward with putting forces in Ukraine? And I just said that we most probably not even going to have a clear answer for that. But if we are to treat what Macron said, roughly there were a couple of messages and couple of things that he said that are interesting. I think the important thing that he stated is that he is trying to assemble and find a coalition of the willing that would consider if the situation would deteriorate more in Ukraine, to send in troops to actually protect Kyiv and actually engage Russians on the territory of Ukraine. I still feel that this is more of a, dipping into the hot waters with your toes. I feel it's more about like he's trying to poke around and see if there are countries in the Baltics, Poland, the Nordic countries, Finland, that would be really interested in potentially supporting this kind of action, and how much resistance there would be from local peaceniks, so to say, from like Scholz or Austrians or Hungary, Slovakia, and so on. So I believe that there is still a discussion to be had, but I think that's already great progress. In my perspective, that is an amazing progress. Is it enough? Definitely not. Definitely not, because the moral thing for everyone would be to do is, as soon as Putin invaded Ukraine, to say, okay, like you invaded, maybe not instantly, not that they won, but as soon as we saw that Ukrainians were able to defend their country against the invasion, it was the right time to say, okay, you're not going any further, and then either deploy troops on the borders with Ukraine that they regained, and let Ukrainians fight the Russians where Russians aren't, close the skies over Ukraine, and so on, to be proactive. But unfortunately, the reality is that, well, we have now leaders that are running our countries that were not just unprepared for the situation, but definitely underqualified. And they hesitated so long, so much, that we are now in this shitty situation. People say, Georgie, I hear you shit on Trump, I hear you shit on US, but you never shit on the on the European leaders. Well, firstly, stop listening with your asshole and start listening with your ears, because I am the most critical about Europe. Because as much as my channel is called Ukraine Matters, and it does focus on supporting Ukraine, and as much as I like US being like this big, powerful ally, the arsenal of democracy, the actual force for democracy, I am a European, and I am primarily always interested first and foremost for Europe. And in my perspective, specifically seeing how Russia was aggressively treating against Ukraine, how Russia is treating Baltics, its neighbors, now France, because Russians have released this map, how they want to separate France into different pieces. I always was very much frustrated, specifically and primarily, that we in Europe are not doing enough. Europeans and European safety is primarily mine. I want Europe to continue living in peace. And what I saw is that we did a lot of series of mistake of mistreating dictators, pleading to dictators, and twisting and turning the core nature of never again, to say that we will not allow things to happen, to go bad in Europe, never again, to, oh, we must try to beg for peace and protect our peace by just crawling on our stomach before any dictators and giving them everything that they want. So please just don't fire at us. So we change the position where we are, and I think that it is unacceptable. So, and that's why I'm going to be raging, and this is my primarily focus, to explain that it's the Europe that needs to step up. And I'm happy to say that we are slowly getting there. Is it enough? Absolutely not. So everyone will go. Even Macron, that's now stating things. You will hear me talk shit about him, for sure. All right, so that's about France. That's about France and Europe. Cosmic Revolution, I was wondering if Ukraine made underwater drones yet that would rock. Yes, I've personally seen videos with Ukrainian prototype drones that would work underwater. They are operational. However, there are also difficulties with Ukrainian underwater drones, most notably communication, construction, and mass production. So right now, these things are not yet fully solved. So right now, are they underwater drones limited projects? Yes. But as something that can be used en masse, not yet. Ken35, who's singing? You can find the playlist for the music that played at the start of the stream. If you're watching this in recording, probably I'm cutting out music because of YouTube restrictions. So just write, if you're in a live chat, just write !playlist, which gets you to the playlist for Ukraine. If you're watching this in recording, in the description of the video, there is a link to Ukrainian music playlist. You're welcome. I try to find Ukrainian music that has translation into English or English subtitles, or allows for automated translation into English that is decent enough and doesn't really is not complete garbage. Savajanki, do you think Putin knows the real results of the vote of the people close to him, give him only fake election results? So Savage Junkie, the problem with your question is that you're treating it like it's an actual election. Like you're actually you are making this question and treating it like it's an actual election. Like, we need to understand that in Russian election, the word election is a joke. Like, it has nothing to do about results, treating the results, considering and so on. Like, even considering that there might be even real results somewhere, even that is your errors treatment. Like, you're even considering that this, like, that there is something that is happening there, that it's not just a facade of anything. You're actually considering that there are results, and that is your biggest error. You need to stop, take a step back, and reassess Russian and elections together as the same words, and your definition and what goes into that definition. What goes into Russian election? Does Putin see real results? Jesus Christ. Arthur Brazil, is there a chance at Ukrainian counteroffensive without US aid package? No. Would it require a new constitution in Ukraine? How are those two related? What? I don't understand the second part of the question. How would Ukraine having a new constitution... I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to answer. Brian Johansson, can you give us some hope, Georgie? I mean, well, firstly, I'm not a hope dealer. Like, I'm just telling things how they are. If things that are looking up good, I will tell you that they're good. If things are looking out bad and really bad, then they are bad. So I'm not really like dealing hope just for the sake of hope. That's not really, I don't really see a point of this. I don't see point of deluding yourself and lying to yourself. Are the things bad right now? Yes. Why? Most notably because Ukraine is not getting the resources that it needs. Are the things, does it mean that Ukraine is about to collapse and Ukrainians will stop fighting? No, it doesn't mean that. Ukrainians are resisting. They will continue resisting as much as they can. A lot of really good Ukrainians are going to die. My friends, my family are on the line. They are going to be there on the receiving end. But are things like absolutely terrible? No, absolutely not. Like, remember 2 weeks ago, I recorded a video where I was yelling at the screen and saying, oh my God, people around saying that now Avdiivka collapsed and like Russians are going to take Avdiivka. And I said, no, because Ukrainians have built a fortification line. And I showed you on the map, the fortification line. Can you open Deep State map right now and just look where Russians are? And then scroll back time 2 weeks ago, right? when everyone and every single article and every single news media, YouTube journalists, whatever, were yelling is like, oh, total collapse of Ukrainian front line is coming. It's about here. Oh, it's gonna be here. And it's like, so that's the point. It's good to be realistic. It's good to be hopeful and optimistic where that hope and optimism is warranted. So when I say it's like situation is bad, yes, but there are certain positive momentums like that are making things better for Ukrainians. The biggest challenge is that Ukraine right now is fighting Russia that has a lot of resources, a lot of stock. Ukraine is fighting not actual Russia, Ukraine is fighting the Soviet Union. The whole 50 plus years that the Soviet Union, the world's second superpower, was accumulating resources and military power to try to fight US at some point, is now fighting not US, is now fighting like all of that resource, is now fighting a country that is like 3 times smaller, like because not of just size, but like let's take population, which is a little bit more comparable. The country that is like 3 times smaller, which had at the start of the war significantly smaller military budget, and is not only is able to withstand all of that, but also locally was able to resist and throw out Russians, that was able to dominate Russian fleet, like win the Black Sea from Russia, and in 2 years completely cut out what any resemblance of the organized military that they had beforehand. And now Russians are very hastily, by sacrificing hundreds and thousands of people, by burning all of their stockpiles that they had for the total nuclear war with the United States, they're burning through these reserves like there is no tomorrow. Ukraine is doing that. All of this. That is an incredible achievement. Whenever people then come and say, put some kind of unrealistic expectations like, haha, but Ukraine still hasn't beaten Russia, and it's like, what do you mean it hasn't beaten Russia? Like, look at Covered Cabal videos, right? Look, videos of Covered Cabal where he goes over every single Russian depot with that they have vehicles at. Vehicles, tanks, artillery, and so on. And they go into that and says like thousands and thousands and thousands pieces of Russian artillery have been deducted from these long storage facilities. And I can tell you where they went. They went to the front line. And then when you see like tens of thousands of these pieces of equipment coming from the Russian storage facilities, and then you look at the Ukraine support packages, and it's like, oh, we sent like Ukraine, 500 artillery pieces. Whoa, whoopty fucking do. And then you compare, it's like many thousand went away from the Russian side, 500, okay, people are gonna bitch that I say 500. Let's say 2,000. It's definitely less than 2,000, but let's say Ukraine got 2,000. So couple of many thousands or 2,000. And then you put them together, it's like, yeah, Ukraine still doesn't really have an advantage. So when people say like, why a country that has zero advantage in any categories still yet to beat Russia, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So Ukraine is doing great for what it has. That is important. And Ukraine is not beaten, and it's not even close to being beaten. That is the hope that you wanted. There you go. If your thinking is like, oh, but Ukraine hasn't won yet, grow up. All right. Ali is trying to ask me questions, but those are secret. They are not yet to be talked about. We're gonna get there at some point. How is everyone doing today? Interesting question. I guess it's to me. So how is everyone doing today? But I already asked you this question. Do you think it's possible for Putin to find a way to say the Russian leaders after he... Do you think it's possible for Putin to find a way to say the Russian leaders after he lost in Crimea, or it's automatic death sentence? I think there are off-ramps for Putin. like even now, I believe there are off-ramps for Putin, but he's not looking to take them. Putin has been offered every single off-ramp possible. He's just not willing to take it. So I feel that it's going to end up in a death sentence, but not because there are no off-ramps for him. So I believe that he might go until, and so on. Is it true that Navalny changed his mind over Crimea his last year or so? I don't know. Who gives a shit? And how he changed it? I don't know. Like, look, Russian opposition is a joke. Like, the whole thing with Russian opposition is the same as with anything else Russian, right? In a lot of Western minds, I'm saying Westerners because mostly the Eastern neighboring countries, but not all of them, mostly understand Russians, and they don't treat Russian opposition as something serious. It's cute. You know, they treat it as an interesting like a hobby project, something like this. Right? So it's very, very funny to treat these questions. Well, I wonder if Navalny really thought about that sandwich phrase he talked about. And I can treat it like this. And that would be accurate. However, it is still being treated, this Russian opposition, like I see them coming to White House, invited to Congress, whatever, like something really serious, which they're not. They don't represent anything in Russia. They don't propose anything in Russia. The Russian opposition stands for sharing opinion about Putin. And you know what they say? It was like, Putin bad. I bet you didn't know that. But what do they do then to try to fight Putin? Because they don't do it. They say, like, get us videos. We're going to try to change the Russians' mind. Well, whatever they have been doing, it's not working. Like, you can say, it's like, oh, it's such a brave resistance that they're posing, you know, going around and doing something. Yeah, except it's not achieving results. And my biggest problem with the Russian opposition is it's a populist project. They are doing publicistic stunts. And they're tapping, like it's a circle jerk. They're tapping each other on the shoulder on like, yeah, you know, good for you. Like, good that you resisted. Like, you know, there was recently in Lithuania, the guy Volkov got attacked with a hammer by some Putin supporters. And I was like, okay, wow, you're now being physically attacked. Like, you know, what you're going to do? It's like, nothing. Just going to make this as another charity donation marathon. It's like, cool. There is, like, I can count to the number of the fingers of my hand, like people in the Russian opposition that understand what they must do, which is specifically donate to armed forces of Ukraine. Because that is the only realistic and effective action against Putin's Russia. That is the only thing that works. Everything else is just blah blah. And in the Western world, there is a lot of buy-in into this blah blah. And that Russian opposition is treated seriously, like they're doing something. But the reality is, they're just circle jerking, they're getting money, they're doing their projects to popularize the unpopular opinion that Putin bad. And that's it. Navalny, whose husband got killed, the Mr. Sandwich guy over here, she called for people to go to the Russian election offices at 12 noon, stand there for a couple of minutes at 12 noon, and then get out. That was their plan. That is what they called Russians to do. Not to, like, you know, find a way to get Bitcoin and donate to the armed forces of Ukraine so they can beat Putin back to Neverland. No, that's not what they're doing. They are proposing these things that they have been doing for years and years and years. You know, put a paper plane and throw it out of your window. Pull a flashlight and then, you know, shine it into the night. All of this garbage nonsense that achieved absolutely nothing. The only thing that happened is Putin's regime became more totalitarian. And the only thing that they're selling is nothing. They're selling bridges. They're selling a bridge to tomorrow to everyone in the West. And whenever I see people, it's like, oh my God, yeah, okay, so we really need to listen to these guys because they are the Russian opposition. You know, those Ukrainians, oh, they're just radicals. You know, they're just like, yeah, you know, Ukrainian position is understandable. They're fighting against Putin. But these Russians, we also need to support. The problem is they are doing nothing. They are just waiting there for Ukrainians to pay their share price in blood to get rid of Putin, for Europeans, everything in the world, take the additional money to skim some of the milk that should be going to to Ukrainians to help them actually fucking fight Putin, and then say, okay, now Putin's gone. Now, because we were the darlings in the Western world, we're gonna come here and then take power over in Russia or something like that. At least they don't really have a coherent program. They only say it's like, okay, we're gonna get rid of Putin and then democracy comes. That's it, we win. And that is what pisses me off. Every time I hear like, oh, do you think Navalny changed his opinion about Ukraine? He doesn't matter. Doesn't really fucking matter what he thinks. Because these guys, they only have right now one job, to support the real and only Russian opposition, which is the armed forces of Ukraine. And there is only a handful Russian opposition figures that I know that are actively working to support the armed forces of Ukraine. That's it. I was like, oh, but we're providing a list of people that Russia should impose sanctions on. Good. You think Ukrainians cannot do it? Like, cannot you just like do both? How about walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time? It's like, oh no, but Ukrainians, you know, radicals. Ooh, they're killing our boys. Ooh, yeah, fuck it. So, sorry for this rant. It's just, whenever there is a serious question, like treating Russian opposition seriously, I instantly get choke on that. Because they have been a joke. They've learned nothing. And okay, I'm ranting already far too much. You get my point. It's like, I don't hate them. I just think they're useless. They're not better than Putin's elections. Do you got your hair buzzed? No, I have a comb. Or it's like not a comb, but like a braid. Not a wait, not braid. Fuck. What was the word for it? Essentially, yeah, I have a comb, like a thing in my hair. I forgot how it was called in English. Sorry. Too mad at Russian opposition. There we go. Have you read about American praying? What are your thoughts on the freedom of Russia incursion in Belgrade? Okay. So guys that are fighting right now in Russia, the incursion of Russians, I think it's great. This is what Russian opposition should be doing, right? You say, okay, Russians should not be supporting Ukrainians. Fair enough. Fair fucking enough. Legion Free Russia, they are actually democratic. Like, they're not the Russian Volunteer Corps that are the fascists that want to build this nationalistic small Russia, you know? They want to build like this small state, essentially decolonize Russia and build like a small Muscovy state that would just hate all of the intruders from other parts of Russia that are non-white. Well, no, not white. Sorry, how could I say that? I mean non-Russians. What they say, non-Slavic. So they're like nationalists and Nazis. But Region Free Russia, they're actually democratic fighters, and they're Russians. Why don't the Russian opposition actually support them, buy them equipment, buy them, like, you know, Ukrainians, like, we don't talk about how Ukrainians are working. Like, one of the major differences for me is like how Ukrainians are working. And they're saying is like, well, Ukrainians are donating every day, every time they're getting paid from the salaries that they have, they are donating the few coins that they have earned. They are also contributing to the armed forces of Ukraine. Why don't the Russian opposition declare that the Legion Free Russia is their liberation forces? and then they will funnel the money that they get into these liberty fighters. They are the democracy fighters. They are having this blue, white flag. Why not? Why they cannot do the same? It's like, and okay. So, do you know, like in Russia, you can get into jail if you start supporting the Russian fighters against Putin regime. Oh no! Not the jail. You know where Ukrainians that resist Russians go? They die. Yeah? So that's okay. It's okay for Ukrainians to die, but for Russians to be arrested and go to jail, wow. I mean, like, will they have a good time? Fuck no. They probably get their shit kicked in. They probably get a pretty miserable life as well. Oh, pretty bad. Better not resist. Gonna go stand in the corridor of the Russian elections. By the way, all the people that came to stand at 12 noon in the Russian election office, probably they could have taken this as a picture and saying it's like, oh, look how popular the election is. Look how many people came. So declare Freedom of Russia Legion or whatever else. Make your own fucking legion. Go fight. They're already there. They're already fighting. They made themselves known. Putin said on television that there are incursions into Belgorod region. Great. Funnel the money to them. Like, make them your pet peeve. Not pet peeve, but like make them your pet project. Go. Do it. Fucking do it. I dare you. Dare you, motherfuckers. So I think what it's the only proper things that these groups are doing right now in Russia. They are taking the fight from Ukrainian territory into the territory of Russia. That is the only right thing to do now. I applaud all of these Russian people that came into these offices, into the offices of the election committee, and started burning them. Like, they came with Molotov cocktails. This was not what the Russian opposition was calling for, yet they did it anyway. Fucking A. Good job. Do that. Do more of that. Hi, I just saw the film 20 Days in Mariupol. Yeah, it's absolutely fucking devastating. It's brutal. You got what your thoughts on the freedom of Russia? Just talked about it. Have you read about Americans paying to have Trump MAGA painted onto North Korean missile shells? Yeah, it was a lot of outrage, but it's just, I mean, like, okay, do we truly believe that there are not enough Russia shills in the Western world, right? So some of them are also supporting MAGA. You know, I'm pretty sure there's enough money. Like, for me, individual shell painters, not really big deal. You know what I'm mostly pissed? Like, huge fucking companies that are still working and operating with Russia. Like, you know, certain countries selling oil tankers to Russia, big business going into Russia, paying a lot of taxes, certain banks still operating on territory of Russia. That is what for me matters. Couple of assholes paying like 10 something bucks to get it's actually, have you heard this also a scam? Have their names and MAGA painted on shells. I mean, that's more tells about the sorry state of America right now than anything else that would impact this war. But the problem with that shell painting is that it was a scam. So they actually analyzed those shells, and like some of these shells where the MAGA actually got painted on these shells, people analyzed the damages on these shells and other pictures that were posted, and it turned out it was the same shell. So they paint something, they don't fire the shell, they just like wipe it off, write something else, take a new picture, and then send it to the assholes. So they don't even fire that shell. It's so stupid. Like, MAGA people are like the most gullible people ever. Like, I'm sorry, but like, it's just beyond hilarious. It's beyond hilarious. It's just like you cannot get that done. But apparently you can. So. How much will the attacks of the oil facilities affect Russians' income? Significantly. Significantly. I should probably actually take my time to actually delve into this. It's an important part. I already talked about it a little bit. That you can like that there are very limited number of facilities to be struck and so on. And so the strikes against these facilities, they really disrupt Russian production of oil, and that is hitting the bottom line for Russia. It is really, really good. It is really good. By the way, MAGA people and so on. So a lot of MAGA people have been threatening me. Oh, Georgie, you've been like so salty about Trump. You've been like so saying. It's like, firstly, not everyone. Just the fucking Trump supporters. Not all Republicans I am against. There's plenty of Republicans I agree with, and we talk frequently and so on and so on and so on. I have no problems for Republicans voting. Like there was like there's like plenty of Republicans that want to support, like, I don't know, Nikki Haley, for example, or whatever. There's plenty of good people. Like even Trump former allies don't want to endorse him right now. It's only Trump's because he's anti-democracy. He is a dictator wannabe. And this is like absolutely clear. You don't need to drink any democratic Kool-Aid for this. But beyond that, so these people, they were like, it's like, oh, we're going to unsubscribe. We're going to sync your channel, whatever. It's like, in the video where I openly stated that, one of the highest subscription rates I had in a while now. I shit you not. I check subscriber count. It's like double what I usually get. How do you explain that? How do you square that circle? So, and that's kind of the point. There are people that are just very, very loud. People that are very obnoxious in your face. And this is why I really believe that in the end, Trump is gonna alienate any kind of support for himself. He has a very relatively small, loud base. But whenever it gets to putting like the check mark in a voting box, I really believe that there is a lot more people that are just not speaking out, that are rather as like, man, this guy is saying some shit. And then they would just tick the subscription box. And I checked my statistics and was like, wow, MAGA people are in minority. Major minority. They just also like circle jerking, like Russian opposition. All right, let's read some super chat. Kay Hansen, thank you so much for 5 gifted memberships. Brandybot, 3 months. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Light Brighter, thank you for $20. Bro, sorry if this is off topic, but what is the name of the documentary reviewed about how Russia behind the war and where to find it? So the recording of that stream is on my channel now. It took certain time because it was like going through the YouTube hell with the allowances for posting it and so on. Right now it's online. The stream recording in which I talk about it is called, if you go on my channel page, there is like tabs at the top. There is something that is called live. So there's like home, video, shorts, and live. And if you go live, you will get, where was it? It's called Putin's War on Ukraine, the Truth Finally Revealed. And there is like Putin and says, this explains everything. So it's a 2 hour, 36 minutes stream. You can check it out. And there are links on that stream video. You can check out the video and it's really, really good. I tried to getting it through the how do you say, oh my God, the AI voice translator, because the AI voice translators have become really, really good. But unfortunately, it's just like way too long. It's like super expensive to do. So I just didn't have enough disposable income to translate it. It's a little bit too expensive, even for me. Well, I do mean, even for me, I'm not earning that much. I mean, mostly I'm sustaining myself from my daily salary. And it's kind of going up because I recently got a car. Russian white supremacists as native Siberians working together with the Russian border regions. Are they working together for the common goal? Yes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Are there any Russian resistance groups causing sabotage in Russia? Yes. How much effect they're having? it's hard to estimate the cumulative effect, right? It's very hard, but it helps. Every little bit helps. So a while ago, like, okay, we're slowly delving into the Russian economy. So in January month, there was a huge discussion about, I was telling you that Russia has moved a lot of their debt to balance out their budget. They moved certain parts of their budget deficit and moved it to this year. And I said to you that we're going to see at the 2024 Russian deficit just going through the roof. So when they factor in that they're going to get a huge income for their economy and then get many times increase in their military spending, I said it's not very clear where they're going to get the money because their deficit is going to go through the roof. January came and it was like, wow, it's positive. It was like, what the hell? How did this happen? And now February data came in and we saw their budget going through the roof. So by February month, and like listening to the numbers here, by February month, Russia has used up over 97% of their allocated budget for the year. Again, in the first 2 months, Russia has allocated over 97% of their allocated budget deficit for the year. What does that mean? That means that Russia is spending a lot more money and is planning to spend in an astronomical amount. So any kind of increases for spending in Russia will come from their savings. And their savings, they're large, but they're also not final. That means that the situation will be tougher for the citizens of Russia, though I'm not sure if you can call them citizens, more like population. So they're going to be squeezed more for money. There's plenty of squeeze yet to go. But it's good to know that Putin's economy is being squeezed. That means that sanctions are working. That means that the squeeze on sanctions are working. That means that strikes of Ukrainians on their production facilities is working because they need to dip into their war chest. The deeper they dip into their war chest, the harder it is going to be. There has been, like, I believe, I don't remember who said it specifically. I think it was like from the Machiavelli, or I don't know how precisely you can call him, like Machiavelli or something. I don't know, from Italian guy. I think it was the quote from here. It's like, there is 3 things one needs to wage war, which is money, money, and money. So the sooner the war chest gets emptied for Russia, the sooner this war is going to become untenable for Putin. Is there anything Russia can do to stop Ukraine destroying all of their oil refineries? Yes, stop war. Get the troops out of Ukraine, then the oil refineries would stop exploding. Yes. Will you be doing another joint live stream with Mercado Media? Yeah, probably. We actually planned it yesterday, but I got unfortunately. Oh my God, what was the word? Not, I wanted to say hooked up, but that's not accurate. Like hooked up means something else. I got essentially, like, there were things that I didn't do in the city in time, so I got caught up. I got caught up in the city, and I couldn't make it, so we had to postpone it. But yeah, sure, why not? Do you think Putin will call a mobilization in April? It is likely. It is likely. Bonus Patefamilias, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Experts say that F-16s will not be a game changer. Firstly, the experts can go F themselves. The experts have said many things, a lot of them got wrong. I think game changer is an unhealthy term for any specific for specific capability. I don't think any specific weapon platform or a tool or an instrument will ever be game changer. But it's, and you say, but it's important for Ukrainian defense. Is there anything like a game changer that the West can provide to Ukraine? Okay, good. So no, I don't think that there is anything that is a game changer. However, Ukraine is doing a good job. With F-16s, Ukraine can do a better job. If Ukraine does a very, very better job, then that better jobbiness is going to start resulting in Ukrainian, instead of retreating and fighting backwards against Russians, to moving forwards and kicking the Russians out. Is this a game changer or not? Your question answered. So, like, is there any weapon beyond nuclear? I don't really think so. And I actually don't think that nuclear is a good idea for Ukraine. Many reasons why. Like, and follow my thought here, because like some people, I've heard people speculate about nuclear weapons and so on. So imagine situation, Ukraine develops nuclear weapons. How are they going to help her? Like, what's the next step? Like, and I have talked this many, many times, is that whenever people are making thought experiments and asking questions and so on, it's important to ask yourself a question: to do what? To what's the next step for it? So Ukraine gets nuclear weapons. Russia attacks Ukrainians, Ukrainians taking casualties and so on. What does Ukraine do? Do they fire at Moscow? Destroy Moscow? Do they fire at Russians? Do they use nuclear weapons and so on? Okay, cool. What happens then? Russia then's like, okay, well, we just got nuked. And then Russia has what, 5,000 more nuclear warheads? And then it's like, well, we just got nuclear attacked. So now we're going to nuke Ukraine. And then Ukraine gets nuked. Like, because right now Ukraine still benefits. I know not a lot, but a little bit there is still a benefit to fight as a non-nuclear power against nuclear power. So there is still this weapon of not using nuclear weapons against Ukraine that Russia has. So Russia cannot use them. Ukraine cannot develop enough weapons to wipe the Russia off the planet of the Earth before it wipes Ukraine off. It's just not there yet. So nuclears as a potential in the future, like to accumulate them, to make them as a defensive capability, maybe. But as something that would be an efficient weapon in this war, I am not fully sold. What percentage of Russia's oil refining capacity has been destroyed? So if we judge by what has been reported, then somewhere anywhere from 20 to 30% right now is sabotaged for sure. It depends on the type of oil, because like, for example, lower octane oils, they have other facilities that can do it. They don't require sophisticated components. So for example, something like gasoline, for not gasoline but like diesel, they can do that pretty well even on all the refinery stations. Higher octane, like higher grade gasoline, that's mainly used like in commerce, that's used like to fly planes and stuff like that. That is different kind of thing. That is something that Russia will be struggling with potentially at some point. We don't hear from Georgian Legion like we used to. Are they still present? I was never in close contact with the Georgian Legion, so I don't know for sure. But I definitely seen them active, but I haven't seen them report a lot of images or something like this. So definitely a good question, but I just don't know. Never been very close to them. Bart Lanting, 2 out of 2. Also, I think you asked questions somewhere first, but the first part is not in the question section. So I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe YouTube deleted it. When Russia accused US that they would interfere in Russian elections, make me believe that Russia will do something in the US elections. I mean, Russia has been doing interference in US elections non-stop. You have like a whole party that supports Russia. What are you talking about? How is that not interference? Werner Baluv, what can do the resistant army of Russia do on the border ATM and later, at the moment and later? Will this be more in time? Right now, this is like a popularity contest that they're doing right now. So they want to kind of push their popularity a bit up. So it's a propaganda mission that they're doing on the border. Cecilia P. What will May 9 parade look like? Who gives a shit? Like, who fucking gives a shit? Probably like any 9th May parade. I don't understand the question. Kaimo, does Ukraine have in its constitution that it is possible to change its territory by referendum? Is it in the Russian constitution that it is possible to separate, for example, Siberia by referendum? I don't fucking know. Okay, so I believe in Ukrainian constitution it is possible, but like the whole Ukraine needs to vote. But Ukraine is a unitary state. And Russia, on paper, is a federal state. But there is nothing federal in Russia. It's run by Putin, by a single dictator. It's not a federal state. The same way as like okay, let's put it. Let me put the reductum ab absurdum proposition to you. Do you believe that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is democratic? Think about that. Like, if yes, Macron's coalition has Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Canada, Czechia, as of morning Finland. When will Denmark join the boots on the ground coalition? The problem with Denmark boots on the ground, Denmark doesn't really have a lot of boots on the ground. Like, there is a lot of right now internal discussion about Denmark and how shitty our military is. Like, the boots are far and few between. When do you start the next fundraiser? Good question. Probably after I'm done with the tax part right over here that we need to do in Denmark. Probably in a couple of weeks. Maybe sooner. I just... maybe sooner. Like, good question. I should have started like a while ago. I just don't know why I didn't. Mocking that you think are dumb questions is a turnoff. You know what's a turnoff for me? Killing my friends. That's a fucking turnoff for me. You know what's a turnoff for me? Huh? You know what's a turnoff for me, bitch? For me, a turnoff is when you're proposing and saying to your face of Zelensky, a leader in basic needs, that's like, we're gonna support you no matter what it takes. Our honest word. To Jesus I praise and I say to you that this is my true words. We're gonna do whatever depends on us to help Ukraine. And then you come out of the meeting, say some kind of unrelated bullshit, and then block any aid to those needed people in distress that are being killed every day for over 6 months. That's a fucking turnoff. You know what's a turnoff for me? When a gullible idiot comes out on the stage and then says, I want to be a dictator. I want to praise dictators all around the world. I want to suck Putin's dick. And then everyone says, wow, amazing guy. And then someone says like, what do you mean amazing guy? He's just selling off your country to Putin. He's like he wants to turn you in a like literally the failing state like Hungary is right now. What the fuck are you doing is? And then he's like, no, you don't understand. You should not go into the US politics. You know what's a turnoff? A turnoff is like all these free speech ultimatists The only thing, as soon as you start talking something about a guy, trying to express my opinion, because this channel is my opinion, where I'm saying to think, not just disagreeing with me and saying, hey, Georgie, you know, you're wrong. Majority of people saying is like, you need to shut the fuck up talking about our country and our election. So the only response to those free speech absolutists is for me to shut the fuck up, to shut me off, so I don't have a voice. That's their answer. Democracy much? That is a fucking turnoff. Turnoff. Lion Luigi, despite Russian opposition being a joke, Putin still went to great lengths to exclude them from the elections. Could he be afraid of elections? Maybe Russia is less stable than it looks like. No, it's just theater. Just like it's... Have you been to theater? Like, why people do theater? Why people go to theater? It's not reality. It's nice. It looks good. You know? You're good, thanks. Stand with Ukraine. I'll try to ask in the Q&A, though it keeps defaulting me to chat. Okay. Please do a summary video of the Ukrainian strikes on Russian oil refineries, dates, location, and impact on Russia. Yeah, good point. Stand with Ukraine. I will copy this note, and I actually should do it. The problem with this is they have like about yay big, like a backlog of videos that I should make, and a lot of them like are really relevant, and I just don't fucking have the time to make that. It's the unfortunate part, but good point. I really should. And I really should talk about the Russian economy and so on. Steve Bendel, we love the rants against MAGA and the fucking Trumpers. Thanks for 100 kroners. Look, if you've seen me, I was not against Trump. You know, it's like, and I got a lot of shit for that. I got a lot of shit from people that are passionately understood democracy and be against Trump and so on. And I was like, you know, it's a democracy. You know, in democracy, different voices are heard. There are voices that you can agree with. There are voices you cannot agree with. For example, Brexit. Like, I despise Brexit. I think it was a stupid idea. But I also understand that people were not happy, and I respect that they have a choice. I respect them doing that choice. And I think that we should be in this reality. And the reason why, for example, before you start thinking about, oh my God, this guy, is like, I don't like Brexit for one very specific reason. It made European Union weaker. I think United Kingdom made Europe stronger. It made Europe more coherent. Look at the UK. Not just the Labour Party, not just the Conservative Party, but the Labour Party. Everyone understands the support for Ukraine. And everyone very clearly thinks this, like, we need to bolster our defenses. We need to make sure that Ukraine is fighting. We need to bolster our defenses in NATO and so on. And that voice is thoroughly missing within the European Union. I really felt that the voice of United Kingdom is a very relevant one. So when UK says, like, we're just going to give up on you, that hurt. And that is why I cannot really like Brexit. But I respect the people that made that choice. And that was also, in a sense, that how I felt about Trump. It's like, yeah, there was like a lot of the inside politics in US, corrupt leadership, stuff like that. And you just wanted a rebel vote. You know, it's like, just turn it off. Like, make sure that some kind of normality returns. Some kind of... You vote Trump out after first term, and I was like, okay, great, perfect. Things like now force it out. You went through your rebel stage, like, and now you kind of, okay, like, we need to now try to figure out things and so on and go into this. Like, Biden is not a really good candidate, but, you know, at least he sometimes tried to reach out through the aisle. He caved in on the border deal and, you know, stuff like that. So there was leverage that could be done against Biden, and maybe vote in a more relevant Republican that would bring more relevant Republican agenda. But what instead? Instead, you have a person that is now confirmed sex offender, that has more charges than he has years of his life, is a person that really called people to fucking take over for almost a second civil war, that the only thing that he does is trying to turn US from a democracy to dictatorship, that shat on every single international ally. When he comes out and tries to speak about like how US should treat its allies, he's a laughingstock. And the only major discussion when Trump and America comes together in the international policy is like, how do we work around him? How we make sure that he stays the fuck away from us as possible? How do we make sure that we live without America? Now, America is strong because of its allies. And if the only thing that the person is offering is how to alienate US from its allies, and then the only thing that you could do is like, wow, this guy surely needs to be voted again. At that moment, you're not representing democracy. At the moment that you want to elect a dictator into the office, you're not supporting democracy. You're a cult. You're supporting a nut job. And at that moment, MAGA stopped being like a democratic project that had an expression of the vote, a rebel vote, or like a trying to rebuild the system or something. No, it's not a rebel vote anymore, because Trump is the system, the dictatorial system. Every Democratic ally that, well, not every, but a lot of Democratic allies that he had in the Republican Party are giving up on him because he's saying this is too much. Dr. Canada, thank you so much for being a member for 8 months. Mike Doucette, thank you so much. Blockhead Dealer, thank you so much for being a brother in arms. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, a lot of rants today. Like, I think like it feels like I feel so energized. You think it's Putin's elections working on me like this? You think I got like really hyped up? Ooh, what's really moving me? I don't know. Need to support Ukraine. Good energy. Okay, fuck it. I'll reach out tomorrow to the NAFO and we're gonna do a new fundraiser. Let's get shit done. If you're watching this in recording, I hope I will already attach the NAFO 69 brigade some fundraiser. Probably they need a couple of days. Maybe next week. So let's do this. Okay, I'm feeling energized. Let's do more for Ukraine. Let's get shit done. Hey Georgie, we both married a Slavic woman. You married a Ukrainian. I was wondering if she may want to share her perspective. You don't talk about her a lot specifically, so I was wondering. Yeah, because my wife is a non-public person and she doesn't really want to be public person. So she is like, you know, if she will ever want to do it, she can, but I will not force her. Because, you know, like, I am putting myself out there. Like, as little as there is a chance for me to suffer any consequences of this, there's plenty of also nut jobs in this world. Like, it's not a huge secret to find where I live or anything. It's the internet, you know? If someone wants to do something, they can do it. If someone, for example, wants to find out where I live and stuff like that, it's not a very hard thing to do. The information is quite open. The problem is like that this is still a risk, a certain risk. And I want to make sure that while for me it matters more than like and I understand that there may be like some kind of useless madman. Look at the Russian opposition. Like, someone came to their house in Lithuania and beat the shit out of the guy with a hammer. The same could happen to me. Like, maybe I even don't survive and so on. It's an unlikely scenario. But compared to what the guys on the front line are having it, like what they're going through, it's nothing. Like, it's not even a threat. But, you know, my wife, she's already suffering. Her family specifically, because it was her mom, like it was my family as well, but it was her family directly, that was in the occupation. It was her brother that drove a car out of the city through the minefields undershelling, like hoping and praying that they would not encounter any Russian patrol point. Like that was her family, mine as well, but like directly her. And she went through all of this shit. Like and she's having it hard. So I don't feel, if she is not feeling like being in a public person, that she needs to do it. Because it is not still a joke. Like I know I'm more of a, like a light-hearted channel, because I understand, like, and my motivation for that is very clear, because the war is such a serious topic. If I talk about it, like, in deep voice every time about, like, it's really bad, like this, or we need to do, like, we're just gonna get burned out. Every one of us, every person that watches this channel. And I feel that, like, people that are watching me, they're writing me comments, they're writing me mails. So whatever I'm doing is working for some people, as little as it are. These people keep in the fight. They don't give up. They don't lower their head. They don't submit to Russia. It's easy to give up. It's increasingly hard to keep on fighting every day, year after year, month after month, and so on. So if some of that optimism, positivity, keeps the light going, keeps people bringing on, like keeps people asking me question whether there's a next fundraiser, that is worth it. That is what really matters. People say it's like, oh, but you need to tell like the whole reality on the front line, how grim and dark it is. Yeah, but in my perspective, what matters is the result, the action, right? If I say that, and then I see, the only thing I see is, like, for example, support for Ukraine drying off, was it worth it? Like, is it worth it? I don't say we need to deny reality. No, that's never been my message. My message is, it's a long fight. So we need to take care of everyone here to make sure we continue this fight on. Because in this war, yeah, Ukrainians are doing the heavy lifting. They are sacrificing something that I hope none of us will ever have to even think about sacrificing. But we need to stay here and support them, because what they're doing right now really, really matters. And it's, again, a marathon, not a sprint. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. Keep up the motivation high. And we're going to make sure that the guys will get as much support as they can over this whole period of war until victory. What happened to Crimean Tatars? We saw them at the beginning, haven't heard from them since. They are repressed population. They have been, like, I watch some of the Crimean Tatar channels non-stop. There is like almost every day they are posting videos of their families just being repressed. Like police just coming in the middle of a dinner, and just it's really fucking horrendous. But there, you need to understand that they are very, very few and far between. Yeah. I'm wondering if the double tap on the Odessa can become a lasting trend. Oh my god. Oh, you naive child. What missile has this high accuracy? How many exist? Oh my god. Oh, you naive poor child. So, like, reality check for you, my friend. So the first double tap that Russia did happened on, I don't want to say second or third day of the war. There has been double taps every day. Every day. Every day there was a strike, and some of them, maybe not majority, but some of them were double taps. So you poor naive child, if you think that this is the first time, I don't know how to explain to you just how much you're missing and what Ukrainians are going through. The double tapping is not just a normal pattern, it's a regular pattern. And Russia has plenty of missiles. This type, other type, any type. You know why? Because there's still plenty of companies that are delivering their produce to Russia. And then Russia using those Western companies' produce to make more rockets. Many rockets that are firing at Ukraine right now are made during 2024, 2023. We, in the Western countries, are having Trump supporters, other people, other companies that say, money good, let's do it. And then they sell the resources to Kyrgyzstan or whatever, and then they go to Russia. And in our politician system, we think that if we put sanctions on, then actually enforcing these sanctions, maybe it's not really worth it. So it takes us years to even start considering really seriously washing the sanctions. But even up to this point, Google last month's exports of high technology to Kyrgyzstan, any country, and look at those charts. Look at those charts. Good luck. So yeah, I'm yeah. Double tap will become a pattern. Wow. Haven't heard of Kadyrov in a while. Did he die? No. He posted a video actually about Russian invasion into these resistance group invasion. QW World News. Look, like we really need to do. We already had planned it 2 times, and we failed 2 times, and I don't have any excuses. Like it's just everything is like we really need to set the date and just do it. I don't know how. Just I'll write you a message, my man. Well, I don't know how. I'll need to put this as a notification. I know I promised already many times. You're right. We need to do it together. What percentage of Russian POVs have joined the Ukrainian army or one of the 4 Russian militias fighting against Putin? I don't have the precise statistics, but it's very, very few. When we will start seeing gas queues in Russia? Is Macron just blah blah or for real? Gas queues, there's a while. There's still you need to still be realistic. Russia is a major oil production country. It's gonna take a while to get there. QR, thank you for 400 Czech kronos. In order not to get mad easily, you need a couple of good lagers to relax and stay sane. A centuries old Czech recipe. Slava Ukraini na zdraví. Díky. Czech pilsners are really good, especially Pilsner Urquell. Pilsner Urquell is actually supporting Ukraine very majorly. So if you are ever looking for a beer to drink, go for Pilsner Urquell. Also, Pilsen, beautiful city. I was there. We did a tour of all of the production facilities. I love Czechia. We've been to Prague, Brno, Pilsen, Mariansky Lazne. Super country. I love Czechia. The food, oh my god. Svíčková, I think I could eat Svíčková every day. Like, no shit. Yes, where was it? Does Ukrainian counteroffensive depend on a new wave of conscription? No. Well, yes, but also resources. Double tapping is when a missile flies in, destruction appears, about 10-15 minutes pass. Now this area is populated with people trying to get people that was under the rubble and so on, and the emergency units, and then the second missile hits the same place. Germany is now the biggest provider of aid to Ukraine. It should be time to give Germany much credit for this, not only talk about Taurus. US is the big problem, not Germany. No, I will hold everyone accountable. Germany, no Germany, there is no get away. So I'm gonna give no credit for this. And I explained about Taurus very, very clearly. It's not about fucking Taurus. It's about principle. So the big difference with Macron right now and Scholz is that Scholz is still not doing what needs to be done. Scholz is still putting us in a position as to like, please slap me some more, daddy-o, to Putin. He is being a submissive cock and playing with Russia about being submissive cock. Is there a lot of good that he's doing for Ukraine? Oh, for sure. Like, there is plenty of credit I've given to Germany for the weapons and supplies that it's been given. Like, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of it. The problem with Taurus is the fact that we're still having the paradigm that is not shifted. The understanding that there is no negotiations with this Russia. That the only way forward is if we support Ukraine with everything. If he's so protected about Taurus, give Ukraine like one or do exchange program with Britain. The problem is we need to get any kind of barriers off. Like there should not be. Like we are putting braces on ourselves. This should stop. End it. Never. No. There should be only one thought and one thought only. How do we resist Russia? And that's it. Until that is the only prevalent thought, I will shit and give zero credit to anyone that still has this position of I'm going to support Ukraine, but only if we're not going to argue with Russia too much. Only until Putin is not, then it's like, because it always gives a way back, not give Ukraine the victory. It's like, okay, we're going to support Ukraine, but only until Russia allows it. As soon as Putin, for example, yells, okay, let's talk. No. Macron is providing an option. Military ambiguity. It's a perfect off-ramp, if you want to say. You want me not to shit on Scholz? Scholz to start acting like normally. So we don't have to shit on him. Okay? There is a reason why this is a problem. Okay? Like, there is no coming back to the pre-2022, 24th of February day. Stop lying. Is it true that Tesla and other Mr. Musk companies are purchasing aluminum and maybe other raw materials from Russia? Quite possible, yeah, for sure. I already ranted about this, so I will not re-rant. Man, today is like so many rants. Will it be to the best to assume the US will be paralyzed in its help to Ukraine no matter who is president? It appears the same party needs to win the Senate, House, and presidents to stop partisan games. No, Scott, look. There is still supermajority. There's still supermajority for support for Ukraine. Like, if there would be a vote on the floor for support for Ukraine, it would pass, hands down, absolutely. And it's already happening. I mean, the discharge petition is already on the way, right? It's something in the last said that it's lacking like something like 8 votes or some shit like that. So it's already happening. We need to understand that what is happening right now in US is anti-democratic. The restriction for the aid to Ukraine is counter-democratic. It's not that majority voted no to help to Ukraine. It's preventing of the vote. The vote is being denied. That's how there is no help for Ukraine. Like, it's not the democratic procedure to deny the vote on that. So that's the important thing to understand. So democratically speaking, and polls and everything are showing only one thing: support that US needs to do more for Ukraine is on the rise. As much as Trump supporters want to sell off Ukraine to Russia, it's not a very popular opinion. Agree, so many strikes on oil refineries and depots. Someone needs to summarize. Yeah. Is Bundeswehr or army in Europe capable to fight or lost skill during the end of Cold War? I think they're capable of fighting. A lot of okay, this is gonna hurt. This is really gonna hurt us and Europe and so on. So, Ukrainian some speaking mouthpieces and so on, they shit a little bit too much on European Union and European Army and armies of NATO without US. I don't believe that, and they're saying, okay, Russia will just steamroll through the Baltics, will take a huge chunk and so on. And I really feel that this is very unfair. As damaged our armies are, we just have a lot of fucking weapons. Because, let's be honest, Ukraine is not getting the best of weapons, and Ukraine is not getting the most of weapons that we have. There is still plenty of tools in our inventories to make Russia bleed, right? Let's agree on that. So, will Russia be having like a complete and easy cakewalk if they invade Europe? Absolutely not. And the major thing that we learned is that countries, if there is a will, there is a way. That the adaptation of countries to the situation is quite powerful. So if it's actual like people in Europe that will be put as like, okay, it's time to fight, there is a good chance that people will fight. That we will see, maybe not like in Ukraine, there's going to be lines and lines of volunteers standing in to defend the European Union countries and so on, if Russia invades. But I'm pretty sure that there will be in the Baltics, in Poland. So, and there is a lot of weapons. So I believe there will be a possibility to buy enough time for the Western and European powers to unfuck themselves. And as slowly as we are growing our military capabilities. Already now, there is like around 300,000 troops that are ready to be deployed to Poland. Now, 300,000 troops, even poorly trained, remember Mobics, is still a force, especially if they're supported by the air forces that thankfully are quite capable, and naval forces, because Denmark and other countries in the region have been having forces. Also, Sweden and Finland have pretty powerful militaries. They have not been slacking. So I don't think that it's completely fair to write off European powers as a get-go. I think there is still a lot of punch left despite the lacking performance in a lot of the southwestern parts of the alliance. Okay. By the way, how much I have been streaming? It's already feels like a century. It's an hour and a half. Okay, good. What do you think will happen to Moldova and Transnistria after the war? If Russia loses, will we see Transnistria collapse too? Yeah, 100%. Absolutely, like 1,000%. Kaliningrad, maybe. Oh, sorry. Oh my God. I mean Krolowitz. I don't think Krolowitz will collapse, but I think it might join back to Czechia as it's now official. Thomas, secure name. It's not Ukraine shirts, the sports brand in his country, so not blue or yellow. Huh? So Ukraine, not my country. Just let's be clear. I'm not Ukrainian. I have very, very loose connection to Ukraine. I have friends and my wife is Ukrainian. I am not Ukrainian. This shirt is a tribute to the Mria, the biggest airplane. Like if you see like on the back, like it has the Mria. And if you Google Mria, you will see that Mria actually had yellow over blue as a ribbon that goes through the plane. Yeah, Czechia. Yeah, Czechia. Didn't you know that Kralowitz is now Czechia? There was a referendum that, and it was voted that Kralowitz returns to Czechia. Google it. Georgie, what the Europeans will do with those dickheads Orban and Fico talk so much BS and interfering with the help of European bros. It's a problem. I don't think there is a lot of things we can do because European Union is inherently anti-authoritarian regime. Not authoritarian, but anti. How do we say? So in US there is like a one center, and that center kind of defines the policies for countries. European Union is a complete opposite of that. It's a decentralized structure where there's no center that can prescribe anything. So there is no kind of center that can say what to do these countries. I believe that there will be more and more pushes towards how to play around these kind of players. For example, moving that certain policies can be, instead of having unanimity vote, instead would be pushed to, for example, qualified majority, most likely the external politics questions. So that's what I would see. But expecting that the European Union will do something about the countries, that's not how the European Union works. If Biden loses the election, should he call Russian interference and just seize power like Orange Man attempted? I suggest the server chats and the MAGA trolls freak. Okay, I have a meme for that. Oh, time to dig into my meme folder. Let's go. I know you like it. Like I need a special section, you know, with a special thing. It's like Georgie's meme folder. All right, let's dig in. Memes. Come on. I hope I didn't save it just on the phone. Oh my god. If I saved it just on the phone, that would be criminal. No, I cannot see it. No. No. Oh no. Well, shit. Okay. So I saw this meme from the phone and I didn't save it. Unless, okay, a quick check. I'll see if I have it in my saved messages instead, or wherever I solved it. If it's in my saved messages, I will be able to show it to you. Man, it was such a good meme. Oh, it was such a good. Like, yeah. No, okay, I cannot find it. Fuck it. Well, damn. What to do? All right. No memes for you then. All right, I'll get you a meme. Okay, let me give you some kind of meme so you're happy. There we go. This meme, you will like this meme. So whoop. Okay, I closed my browser. Thank you. There we go. And meme opening in 3, 2, 1. Okay, wrong page. Sorry. 1 second more. Wrong page. No, not studio. There we go. There we go. There we go. Whoop, meme. Yeah. There we go. Funny memes. Love it. Oh my god, I need to update my meme folder. How could I miss the meme? Oh my god. Okay, what's next? Do you know what batteries are used in the armed forces of Ukraine communication devices? Because we are organizing aid from Finland with a few different non-profit organizations, and I know that there is a shortage. Ooh, no, sorry, man. Your best bet is to ask Brandon. Brandon from Ukraine TBIC. He's dealing a lot with like communications and different batteries and so on. I think he would help, would appreciate help. Paulius Bivudas. Trump told he will finish war in 24 hours. Everybody thinks that US might leave NATO. Yeah, Trump told he was finishing with US might leave NATO or give away Ukraine. What that would end the war in 24 hours. Maybe he will send Navy and tell Putin to fuck off, that they would end the war fast. Well, I mean, if you haven't followed, Trump met with Orban recently, and after that interview, Orban went to talk with the media, and Orban said that Trump told him his plan, and his plan is to stop giving Ukraine aid, and then Ukraine will stop resisting, and then they will negotiate with Putin peace in 24 hours. A rock solid plan. No issues at all. Richard Bennett, thank you so much for 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much for being member for 4 months. Thank you for people gifting members. Absolutely. Alan Kettle, welcome, welcome. Justin Beaver, thank you so much for 5 gifted sub. Ibag, thank you so much for 5 gifted sub. Sub Hero, well said. Don't take cues of the beaches. Yes. Stephen Benda, yes. Thank you guys. All right. Georgie, do you think nationalism is acceptable when it's to fight for your country? So nationalism is a very broad term, right? So there is a lot of gradation of nationalism, right? Extremes of nationalism can be very, very problematic because both Ukraine is doing nationalism in a sense of we've been assaulted and therefore we need to defend our country in the borders that are recognized by the world. But also Russia is doing nationalism, where they say, we are the greatest nation of them all, therefore let's dominate other nations. Other nations are lesser than us. So, you know, it's like it can be as a very loaded word. And people are abusing nationalism and the meaning of nationalism. And they are using, oh, you know, there's so many nationalists in Ukraine. Well, it's like, duh. There are people that want to fight for their nation. But then they say it's like, no. I mean, like they think they're like, you know, like nationalists, like they want to like subjugate all the Russians and beach out all of the Russian language of their countries. Like, whoa, it's like that's we're talking into different categories here already. So and this gradation is being misused at all times. So I don't really see nationalism as a very helpful word to describe certain positions. I think it can be descriptive. I feel it's very hard to use it as a prescriptive. Like, for example, in a statement, do you think nationalism is acceptable? I think it's kind of bad to prescribe it says like, well, nationalism is good. I think it's better to use like say is like, is it better, like, is it good for people to fight for their own country? Yes. In a defensive war? Yes. Is it bad for people to think that every other country is lesser than them? Yes. It's again is a good way to talk about it. So that's my problem with nationalism as a word. Do you think that the Germans will come around and provide, for example, the Taurus? It's a shame to me that we still don't go all in. The Ukrainians breeds and dies for Europe, and we are so cowardly. Yes, well, I already said that like we need to obviously recognize, yes, that Germany is doing a lot, Ukraine is doing a lot, and Taurus is really a question of principle. The missile by itself that will not bring as much to the table as people hope. It's not like a ultimate weapon. It's not. There is no ultimate weapon, and that the fact that it's just a weapon, and we are putting this weird boundaries on ourselves. That's the problem. Not the Taurus as a missile, not the weapon itself. Most money payments in the US are digital. If Russia is the same, could Putin just print money without people knowing? Good stream. Yes, but there are issues with printing money. We like, let's put it this way. We hope that Russia starts printing money. That is the goal. Like, Russia will never run out of money. It's a fallacy expecting that Russian economy will collapse because it will have no money. No. The goal is for Russia to start printing money to solve its issues with currency. That's the ultimate goal. What Italy doing? My country's media rarely talk of the actual help to Ukraine, which is actually kind of weird because Italy has been doing quite a lot. Like, Italy has been in a very nice supporter of Ukraine. They are a good supporter on the political stage. They're a good supporter also on limited help for Ukraine. And I feel that, not feel, but like there were some rumors that they're working with Bulgaria to help facilitate building of factories. Sneak easy. Georgie, Ukraine will win. Yes, we know that. But what do you think will be the right thing to do with the people that support Russia in those areas? The Separs. Well, I mean, they're criminals, right? So what do you do with criminals? You prosecute them. So I think that as criminals, they need to be prosecuted for their criminal actions. Fighting against legal government of the country is a criminal action, which should be prosecuted. So I think the criminal code is perfectly capable of dealing with criminals. So if they were just a member of, like if they're just population that got caught in a crossfire, well, so be it. I don't see any issues with people in those that are living in those territories. Like there is nothing difficult about going over that. It's fine. Man and Pihut, welcome to Saint Javelin. Welcome, welcome. What is your opinion on the possibility that Donald Trump will, contrary to belief, support Ukraine? I think it's a great self-deceiver. Like, I think people that, like, let's put it this way. If you don't listen to Trump, that's a reasonable statement to make. However, if you listen his speeches and what he talks about and who he talks with, then you're like, oh, yeah, maybe that's a little silly thing to consider. Finnish guy, do you have any plans for the live shows with other pro-Ukrainian YouTube channels in the future? Yeah. So Finnish guy, so the history goes about like this. At some point, I was like, my channel kind of became relatively well known. Thankfully, since then, it's kind of died off, and I feel like the channel now is a lot better place. So it's less kind of like maybe it's not as much on popular wave, but I love my community. It's a very die-hard community. It's very consistent, and I know people, and we talk about, and I'm very happy where we are right now. Right? Would I wish to be doing more? Yeah, sure. I would love to attract new people, but like I would love people to come here and stay here for the right reasons, right? Rather than just, you know, like that a lot of growth of the channel was when there was this Ukrainian offensive, which is fine, you know. But I feel that and at that moment I decided to like, okay, let's try to talk with other pro-Ukrainian YouTube channel. And the first thing that I realized is that it's very exhausting. It takes a lot of time, and the impact of it is relatively small. Most notably, like people actually wrote me messages and said like, hey, thanks for your talks. However, I would really like to know that. And I don't really see that often that in a lot of talks, a lot of people are getting answers. So for me, my small, relatively small, but cozy and homely community over here is more precious than any other pro-Ukrainian YouTuber. Most notably because I know that once we're going to do something, like for example, like a fundraiser and charity, something that will actually contribute the people on the front lines, it's going to be you guys that are going to be helping me get the money and the vehicles and everything to Ukraine, right? Yeah, this channel doesn't earn as much. Well, fair enough. But we still do a lot of things that we can. And again, in a war this big, there is no effort that as small. So I think it's good that we're doing it. I will definitely work with other pro-Ukraine channels, but I don't want to focus on this because I feel that engaging with community for me is a lot more important than talking with any other pro-Ukrainian YouTuber. How's Sirski doing so far? I think great. I think so far there was certain reforms that I'm very happy about. Most notably, I'm not sure if I can talk about this because this hasn't been really in the media, but rotations are ongoing. So people from the front line are being rotated, which is incredible. Not everyone at once, but the rotations are happening. So people that have been on the front lines for years are now slowly being rotated out, which is really good news. Really, really good news. Are there any notable changes to strategy? I don't think there was enough possibilities. Like, you know, so think about it this way. Like when you have resources allows you to do things. So once you have a lot of resources, you can do a lot of different things. However, if you're a resource crunch, the window of possibilities and what you can do narrows down. So I feel that right now we've seen Syrskyi only operate in this limited resource window, and we haven't seen him, so to say, spread the wings. So, and in that resource crunch, I feel that so far it's been relatively well. Like the offensive on the east has been stopped. The fortifications are being built. So why not? Like, I think it's quite okay. Hi, Georgies. Thank you for the other day. Do you have any new info on Belgorod? What I hear is crazy that the freedom fighters just outside Belgorod. Do you have any news on that? No. They are not outside Belgorod. They're launching drones in like towards the area. They're not there yet. Not as much. Like there's been some progress, but it hasn't been that much. The most notable is that this is first and foremost the PR operation. So they're making a lot of noise, but actually very little raw data is coming out, which is it's a well structured propaganda operation. So they are really having a lot of ambiguity around where they are, and they're not really revealing that, unfortunately, that much. The only thing that we're able to judge is the videos that are released by the Russian side and the videos that are released by the not Ukrainian, but like Russian resistance side. So it's a little bit unclear right now. We're going to find out a little bit more in the future. I don't have really anyone in those Russian legions that can give me any data from the front lines. Epic and legendary. What is your opinion on Trump supporting Ukraine contrary to belief that he becomes president since he opposed to China and US populist Ukraine? So is he really opposed to China? Like, people say he's opposed to China, but like, have you listened to him talk? He's praising Xi. He's now did a 180 on the TikTok because of the money. How exactly is he opposing China? Like, seriously, it's like, it's good that you're saying is like, oh yeah, but why, what, like, what about if what he's saying, he's actually means the other way around? Well, I'm sorry, but then like, then you lose any kind of sense of reality. Like, if we don't believe what the person is saying and just say, oh, he actually means the other way around, then we are like living in some kind of a mirror reality. And that's a little bit silly. Like, how I feel that this is silly. That's how I feel. It's a silly way of thinking about the world. Like, but what about, it's like, it's actually the other way around. And it's like when Putin says, I'm going to destroy Ukraine and take over Ukraine, he actually is saying that he is actually going to pay reparations and about to pull out. You know? It's silly. How can we change the broken system that keeps a grasp on our lives if voting doesn't really change anything? What do you mean voting doesn't change anything? What is this statement? Voting changes a lot. Voting changes a lot. Like in democracies, voting and pressuring your elected officials, damn, that changes a lot. Holy crap, it changes a lot. Like if voting would not change a lot, then Biden would never come and replace Trump. If voting wouldn't change anything, why the whole all the problems of like, oh my God, the election was stolen from Trump? If voting doesn't change anything, why, after us grilling the European politicians, even now Le Pen, which is like a big Putin supporter suddenly is ready to say that it's Russia's fault that the war is now back in Europe. Because it matters. In democracies that are not turned into dictatorships, voting matters. That is why, so I think it's a dishonest and factually very unhealthy and very stupid way to think about voting, because everyone votes. Everyone votes in democracy. If you don't go and vote, you also vote, because your non-vote is also benefiting someone. It's the same as support for Ukraine. Like the countries that don't support Ukraine, they are also doing something. They are helping Russia. It's the same thing. So if you don't vote, there are forces that you're benefiting as well. So that's why I think thinking about like, oh my God, I don't vote, therefore it doesn't matter. Therefore, it's like I don't do anything. No, it's like if you don't vote, you're also doing something. Like there is no position to take where you're not participating in the elections. You participate in all elections. Maybe not Russians though. Did Trump get permission to send Ukraine fighters home? What? I don't understand this question. Goldfinger Andrew, what is the best contractor person to send hardware like generators or cars to Ukraine? Brandon regularly goes to Ukraine. He also has deliveries to Ukraine. Hopefully, like NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade also gets deliveries to Ukraine. Hopefully, we will set up. I'm going to already dip a little bit of toes into our project. Hopefully, we will start sending certain stuff to Ukraine. There are plenty of things how to help send stuff to Ukraine. So, do you think any form of mobilization legislation will pass in Rada anytime soon? We'll see. Right now, they are going to be looking at their law that about mobilization. They have over 4,000 corrections to that law that they want to make. So they're going to talk about them. They're going to discuss them. And we'll see. Hopefully, it should be passed because it's an important document that modernizes and actualizes the mobilization system. So the biggest problem with the current Ukrainian mobilization, why Ukraine need the mobilization bill? Not because Ukraine is not mobilizing people, it does. It's because it's using an old law that has been like since 1990s, since past Soviet Unions, to do that. Modern warfare requires modern documentation, modern laws. So the laws that are being used right now in Ukraine are just archaic, and they need fixing. Let's see the time. Okay, it's over 2 hours. Let's answer the last 4 questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So sorry for not answering the other questions, guys. I'm sorry in advance. What is the current situation with the Polish farmers? So it died down a little bit. They are still blocking a border with Ukraine somewhat. However, many control points have been able to be deblocked, but there are still quite lengthy queues on the borders with Poland. There are still certain areas in which blockades are happening. So it's not as bad, but it's still like, it's not a situation that a warring country should be in, especially from supposedly your best neighbors. So a bit of a dick move. But thankfully, I think like most of them now kind of switch towards like government institutions protesting in Poland and in the main cities and so on. That is normal. That is like, you know, protesting stuff is fine. Like right now they want to protest against the Green Deal, and I understand why. It's just, you know, like why to do it in a border with Ukraine. Will you burn your MAGA hat on the live stream for fundraising? Sure. I think it would be nice. Though I would not be able to burn it like on live stream because it's fire hazard. So, do you think the Pope will be converting to Russian Orthodox Church if his brilliant peace plan come to pass? Look, it's a sensitive question because Pope is a big thing in a lot of Catholic things. I have my opinion on the Catholic Church. I think there are certain problems with that organization and people in that organization. What I can say is that it's important that people that are part of this organization, that they internally will make their voices heard. I don't know how specifically Catholicism works in a sense of how do you get your voice heard? Like, is there even like some sort of democracy or not? But yeah, I really hope that people that are part of this organization would explain that what they feel and why the comments that the Pope made are problematic. But as far as I know, he also walked them back and so on. A little bit. I never understood why the counteroffensive last summer was so heavily announced. It wasn't even a diversion. The next offensive shouldn't be announced like last time. Yeah, Greg, this is like my biggest problem with the counteroffensive and why I actually said it was a failure, because of the media problems that it caused and the perception problems that it caused. I think the messaging failed absolutely majorly, and I'm happy that finally Ukraine is able to overcome the impact that the failed counteroffensive made in the media and so on. It's really good. Really bad that it was there. Georgie, why do you hate the Arab countries? What? Georgie, why do you think the Arab countries hate the US so much? In the internet comments, there's always them supporting Russia. Is the propaganda or is it something else? Well, I'm not expert, but it might have something to do with US military presence in the area. There were certain moments where US has expanded their power to solve the defense solution, to solve the defense problems for US in a very direct manner within the Muslim world. A lot of that has transitioned into the radical propaganda. And radical propaganda has a tendency to latch on, especially when it can be easily twisted and turned. So, US as an enemy of the Arab states is a very nice position to have for a lot of them, because then they can get financing, programs, everything from everyone that doesn't like US. And there are plenty of countries in the world that would like US not to be what it is. And thankfully, there is now going to be a candidate that is ready to deliver everything that they want on a silver platter. Wow, definitely feels like this is an election year, because the Ukraine Matters channels, I feel like half of the stream I talked about Trump. I'll try to cut down. I don't really want to talk about it too much, because this channel is not like US politics channel. This is not like, oh, let's MAGA hate channel, because like I despise them for what they stand for. The anti-democracy thing, the blocking of support for Ukraine, killing my friends and family. I absolutely despise them with the whole of my heart. They've really burned any kind of bridges that they had. But I still don't want to focus too much on this. Like, this is not the purpose of this channel. The purpose of this channel is to support Ukraine, get more help for Ukraine. So I'm gonna try to come back and mainly focus on Ukraine. And I hope also you will take heed and focus the questions around the situation in Ukraine. And maybe we can talk US politics once Ukraine wins. Maybe I'll transition this channel to a political channel. I love this community. I love talking with you guys. I feel my life is more complete with me being able to have these conversations with you. Slava Ukraini. I love you all. I'll see you next time.